Okay, guys, so this video exists to kind of give you an introduction to the assignment for today. Yesterday we did the grocery shopping list activity, where you had to kind of keep a running total of your purchases at the store in order to make sure that you had enough money. Today we're doing something extremely similar. You're talking about different things you would do with your checkbook. So here there is a story, and then at the end here, there is a check log. So you'll see here in the check log that it mentions every deduction. So all I want you guys to do with the check log as you go through the story is update it. This is something that you'll have to open with in Doc Hub and write on it in that way. If you'd like to, you could also decide to print it off and do it that way too. You just have to scan it back in. That is A-okay. So what you need to do is read the story, and then you need to kind of listen and deduct and add money as you need to. A day in the life of your checkbook. It's not a bad day for you. You've got $500 in your checkbook, you've got a place to live, a car to drive, and a goldfish named Skipper. You've been saving up this money for a long time now, and you want to get a brand new scooter because they get 70 miles a gallon and you're sick of paying for gas. However, you've got some other bills to pay and a few bumps in the road ahead of you. Your rent is due, your car isn't working too well since you hit a turkey, which, by the way, you've been too lazy to take the feathers out of the grill, and you don't know how to cook, so you eat a lot of your meals at restaurants. On April 6th, you test drive the scooter, a candy apple red one. You've got your mind on all the money you'll save by not driving that old clunker you've been dumping money into for years. The $500 price tag looked pretty good to you until you realize that rent is due tomorrow. You live in the Whispering Meadows apartments that are located between a hot dog factory and a veterinarian clinic, which has always made you very suspicious. Anyway, rent is $275, and the check has to be paid to Mr. Linus Andlord. You grab your checkbook and write out the check for $275 to Mr. L. Andlord. So you'll see that in my register here, they've done the first one for us. We have a transaction from the 6th of April. The description is a check to Mr. L. Andlord of $275. So we had $500 before this. But as you can see, I had to subtract $275 from my balance because I had to pay my rent. So you're going to use 3 lines per transaction, and there are 5 transactions that you're going to be listing in this activity. So as you can see, you subtract, and then you have your new balance. They've written out 102 to help us plan for the next one. You can feel free to put a scratch through that and call it number 1 if you'd like. The next day, April 7th, you're bummed about the $275 for rent, but you haven't eaten breakfast, so you decide to head on over to Bill's Mufflers and Pancakes for what else? Waffles. Bill's place has always served pretty good food, but your only concern is that he uses a wrench to mix up the batter. Another delicious meal at only $13.05 for waffles and coffee. You don't carry cash, so you write a check. So what you'd do for this new one is you would open up this assignment in Doc Hub, or you'd pull up your assignment. If you have it printed out, you would put the date, 4/7, description of transaction. Where were we here? We were at Bill's Mufflers and Pancakes. So you'd write Bill's Mufflers and Pancakes in for 102 transaction. Our breakfast was $13.05, so you'd write $13.05 under payment and debit. Don't worry about those. And then you would have to make your balance. So we're subtracting $13.05, so you'd write down minus $13.05, and then write your final total in the next column to know your new balance. After that old clunker got you home again, you notice that your goldfish, Skipper, is doing the backstroke and there aren't any little bubbles coming out of his gills. Skipper was always a wonderful pet, and you want to preserve his memory, so you head on over to Theodore's taxidermy to get little Skipper stuffed. Theodore isn't the cheapest taxidermist in town, but you want to make sure that Skipper's honored properly, and it costs you $31.50 to stuff Skipper. As always, no cash on hand, so you write out another check to Theodore's taxidermy. Rest in peace, Skipper. So the next item that you would deduct would be the $31.50 to get your goldfish stuffed at the taxidermist. The next day, April 8th, you notice that you got a $250 check in the mail for your birthday from Grandma. So are we losing or gaining money there? Make sure you write that down in your register. She's so sweet. You decide to walk to the bank because it's a nice day and deposit the money into your checking account. When you get home, you decide to go to the mall, but realize your car won't start. So, once again, you have your car towed to the shop to get work done. You've always gone to Marvin's Mechanics because they do a good job. You've been there so much, Marvin's already put you in the schedule for the next 3 months. Marvin found out that a mouse must have got under the hood and chewed up a lot of wires and cables in there. When all was said and done, you were back on the road after paying $175. The next day, April 9th, is payday, and you've been skipping a lot of work to play Xbox, so your check was only $45. You quickly drive to the bank and deposit the $45 into your checking account. So, every time you guys see a financial figure in the story, you need to stop and log it. Remember, some of these we're putting money in, others we're taking money out, so we have to make sure that we keep an accurate register. You're so depressed that you can't afford the new scooter, so you decide to go to Bob's Burgers and Banana Splits. For what else? A triple-decker super deluxe quarter-pound burger full of raw onions and jalapeno peppers. After 3 of those and a banana split, you write Bob a check for $15.45 and head home. When you get home, you realize you haven't paid your old social studies teacher the $50 you owed them when you bought that old clunker of a car from them 3 years ago. You open your checkbook and write out a check to your social studies teacher and think back to how many assignments you still haven't turned in. Those were the days. So, for today's activity, I've kind of mentioned this throughout the reading. You're going to stop and log your prices as you go through it, okay? That's all you need to do today. Once you've finished this assignment, you're done. But guys, please don't hesitate to contact me if you need anything. This video really exists to help you get started, and I really want to make sure you've got it. So extra help is never a bad thing, okay? You got this, guys.